No, Ahsoka won't save Star Wars. Listen, I watched the 2 episodes that are out. The first one was really slow. Sorry, something's happening in the chat. The first one is really slow, and the second one I really liked. Now, is it the best show ever? No. I feel like Disney is going really woke with this show, portraying all female characters as really nice. And there is one character that is two female characters that are evil, but the only male character that is prevalent is like the biggest villain. And I do not like that. I do not like that at all. Some of the actors, for example, Sabine, her acting is terrible. She was lying on a bed, no spoilers, but like her facial expressions were awful. Ahsoka is so good. I love her. I love her fight scenes. I love her expressions and how she's behaving and acting so much maturely. And, you know, like you can see that she went through shit in her life. But yeah, let's see why this person thinks... Who's this? The Critical Drinker! Why the Critical Drinker thinks that Ahsoka won't save Star Wars.
Ahsoka is a triumphant...
Ahsoka. Yeah.
Return to form for Star Wars. In fact, it's the best Star Wars I've seen since Empire. Dave Filoni has well and truly saved the franchise with this show, and I can't wait to see what he does next. Those are the kinds of things...
He was alright, he was fine, but in my opinion, her acting is so much better. She's really good. She's really good. I love her.
Wait to see what he does next. Those are the kinds of things I'd be saying if I was one of the room temperature IQ consumers on Twitter that have become so conditioned to the absolute mindless sludge being pumped onto Disney Plus that anything even marginally better is hailed as cinematic ambrosia. But the reality is that after 2 unnecessarily protracted episodes, I can say with a fair degree of confidence that Ahsoka isn't gonna save Star Wars. Dave Filoni isn't a genius, and this show isn't a triumphant return to form. The truth is that for the most part, it's just another mediocre Disney Star Wars show, only dressed up in slightly better clothes.
In a way, it's true. In a way, I agree. I miss the old Star Wars. Since Disney took over with Marvel as well. Nah, I don't like this.
The plot is another tedious series of fetch quests about the hunt for another MacGuffin that'll unlock another map that'll point the way to another missing legacy character in exile. Another doomsday weapons being constructed by another bunch of Imperial wannabes, and it features another flat, uninteresting protagonist with all the personality and charisma of an unbuttered ham sandwich. And it's all held together by a heady combination of convenience, contrivance, and the sheer willpower of the writers. Even worse, it pretty much demands that you watch not 1 but 2 animated Star Wars shows just to understand what the fuck is even happening.
Because I had no idea what's going on because I never watched Clone Wars or any animated Star Wars show. I only keep up with the movies. And that's it when it comes to Star Wars universe. I would love to, but I didn't have the time to catch up ever. And in this show, these characters are already like with history, you know, like Sabine, for example, or Ahsoka, and like so, and other ones as well. I don't want to spoil, but I don't know these characters. First time for me, and they never even introduced these characters to us. Not even took like 30 seconds to catch us up with what's going on.
Fuck is even happening? Because damn man, it certainly doesn't waste any time filling in the blanks for you. Not when there's far more important things to do, like walking and
like first episode was so slow. Like they could have filled in the dots for people who never saw anything about it. They really could have used this episode for, I don't know, foreshadowing or just looking at the past, or just bring some introduction to the characters.
Looking and more walking. And straight away, you know this isn't going to be a show that's big on logic. The first episode kicks off with a former Imperial loyalist named Morgan Elspeth.
Which we saw Poe in The Mandalorian.
Wait, what? That's her name? That sounds about as Star Warsy as Angus McDougal.
It's shite being Scottish!
Anyway, whatever. So Morgan's a former ally of Grand Admiral Thrawn, who got captured by Ahsoka, and now she's on her way to stand trial for her crimes. But then, oh no, a shuttlecraft appears with an old Jedi clearance code and requests to come aboard, and the captain makes it clear that he doesn't believe the code's legit. Because really, how could it be? The Jedi vanished decades ago. So what does he do, you might ask?
He literally allows them to go in just to tell them that he doesn't trust them. But are you an idiot? Are you an idiot sandwich? What are you?
Put his ship on high alert? Does he call for fighter support?
Nope.
Does he open fire on the shuttlecraft? Does he ask more questions to verify who these people really are and why they're here? If your answer is that he lets them come aboard his ship without a fight and then goes down to confront them personally with a small, easily defeated security detail, then you'd be right. You know, I've seen plenty of characters make dumb decisions before, but it's rare to see them openly acknowledge how stupid they're being, while also pretending that they're actually smart and one step ahead of their opponents. Truly, a character is only as smart as the person writing them. Anyway, so they all get killed.
Let me bring them on board just to tell them how much I don't believe that they are not our enemies or whatever.
By
Like,
Ray
I don't know
Stevenson
who they said they were.
learning disabled apprentice, and then they free Morgan, who turns out to be a witch.
What the fuck did I just hear?
Wait,
Not a witch. He just has the.
what? There's witchcraft in
Jedi
Star
mind.
Wars now? Yeah, sure, okay, why not? And
He just used the mind tricks, Jedi mind tricks. He just used the Force, brother. That's not a trick.
she's looking for a secret map that'll lead her to Thrawn's location so she can bring him back and take control of the galaxy. Because there's always a fucking secret map and stuff like this. It's literally the only way we can move the plot forwards. Anyway, it turns out that Ahsoka is already way ahead of her, so she goes to some ancient temple thing and walks around extremely slowly until she figures out a Resident Evil style puzzle that reveals a
switches?
generic
Really?
mysterious movie prop that's actually the
cool.
map. But then a bunch of battle droids show up and challenge her to a fight instead of, you know, shooting her. Because I'm pretty sure they could eventually overwhelm her with superior firepower, but whatever. She beats the shit out of most of them and the survivors activate a self-destruct device to try and take her out. But it's okay because they literally warn her that they're about to do it, and it takes about 15 minutes for them to actually detonate, so she's got plenty of time to run away. You know, I've got a question about this scene. Like, what's the point in any of this? These droids were sent here specifically to recover the map, of which there is only one copy, and if their self-destruct actually worked, then they would have completely vaporized it, and Morgan's entire plan would have been ruined.
Not really. I feel like that map is not destroyable by this explosion. As you can see, this whole planet has like this gunpowder thing. So on the surface, on the surface level, it does explode and there is fire, but every stone and everything stays there because later on, someone else landed on the same planet and everything was fine, a bit destroyed, but still there.
So, what exactly was the thinking here, guys? Did you literally just want a big explosion for the hero to run away from? Nah, whatever. So
Good
Ahsoka
introduction.
returns to the fleet and meets up with Hera, and the two of them stare at each other in silence for about 10 minutes before Hera explains that Morgan's escaped, and Ahsoka's like, nah, it'll be fine. Also, the map's encrypted, so they need some kind of expert to crack it, so naturally Ahsoka chooses to take it to graffiti artist Sabine Wren, because this is a Dave Filoni show, and Sabine Wren is a Dave Filoni character. Then there's more long and meaningful staring at each other, and honestly, I was this close to telling them to get.
Is it just me? But Sabine's acting is so shit. Like, she's so beautiful and physically, like, when the action sequences are not, it's fine. But her face expressions, like, the whole time with her eyes moving and stuff, I'm like, really? Really?
Get a room and fuck so that they could get it over with. But eventually Sabine takes the map and cracks the puzzle by literally turning 2 dials on the top until it matches a picture of the temple floor that it came from.
Son of a bitch!
Oh Fuck off, show. Even a random chump like me could have figured that out pretty quickly. Shit, man, you probably could have solved it just by randomly turning the dials on top until you hit the correct answer.
Yeah!
Anyway, then development...
Like, there are literal lines, like Uncharted shit, right? Like, just follow the lines, make shapes. Like, how hard is that? Just turn it around.
Challenged Sith apprentice shows up and challenges Sabine to a lightsaber fight. So naturally she loses and gets impaled through the gut with a lightsaber, and developmentally challenged Sith apprentice escapes with the map. But it's okay though, because by the next episode she's right as rain.
Bullshit!
You know, I'm old enough to remember when blades of superheated plasma energy actually caused serious and permanent damage to people.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, Star Wars? That's not a sword, an iron sword or whatever, to have a clean cut like that. Like, you know how precise you have to do to make it such a clean cut and remove it and not have anything burn around and make it bigger? Also, why is it always that the villain just cuts that person a bit and leaves? While when you are fighting a villain, you behead the person. You literally just behead the person or remove half of its body.
People. Now it's treated more like a casual inconvenience that you can bounce back from in a couple of hours. Either way, things are looking bad for our dynamic duo. They've got no leads, no map, and no idea what to do next. So Ahsoka goes back to Sabine's home even though she just came from there, because it's the only way that Dave can get the plot moving again. And wouldn't you know it, a single droid got left behind to try to kill her. Why is it still there when they already recovered the map and accomplished their mission, and Ahsoka's got no way of figuring out what they're gonna do next? Why doesn't it just self-destruct the moment she shows up for a guaranteed kill?
Not a great plan.
The point is that she quickly and easily beats it and slices its head off, and they're able to hack into its systems to discover where it was manufactured. Not who actually sent it, mind you, or where they were based, or what their plans might be, or what important conversations the droid might have been privy to, just where the thing was built.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the access to its memory, as they said there, they will have the access to whatever the memory is. Why don't you just see all the information? Why do you just take this teeny tiny info and go on an adventure? Because plot.
Wait, shouldn't this kind of information be automatically wiped when a droid goes into combat?
I mean,
kind of
they
like
did
how
explain
soldiers
it.
don't
Why
go on
not?
missions.
They explained that this is a more of like more complex kind of drone that does have multiple places where it keeps its memory. So if the head is intact, they still have it there as well. It's not like only on some parts
Behind
of their
enemy
body.
lines with their wallets and ID cards with them. And that magically brings them to a Republic shipyard just as the bad guys are in the middle of stealing a hyperdrive unit to power up their giant doomsday weapon. Wow,
Ooh,
that was
convenient.
lucky. Lucky their search didn't bring them to some old factory that manufactured the droid like 10 years ago and has no idea what it's been used for since then. Lucky that they happened to show up in the crucial 5-minute window before the bad guys escaped with the hyperdrive. Lucky this absolute tool decided to announce his intentions before drawing a weapon on them. Writing is easy when everything's convenient, isn't it, Dave? And the episode ends with Morgan having the map and the hyperdrive, and Ahsoka and the others able to track her ship, and Sabine giving herself the world's shittiest haircut and deciding that she's ready to be a proper girl boss.
Why do girls cut their hair? Like, why? I know it's cool and trendy to have short hair, but her hair was so beautiful long like that with the colors, and she just decided to cut it this short, by the way, not like here, like completely short. And Ahsoka had to Ahsoka. I don't know how to pronounce her name, man. I will never learn. She had to comment on her hair and say, "Oh, beautiful hair." But when she had long hair, she didn't say beautiful hair. When, in my opinion, her hair was so much more beautiful before. Also, I don't know, but is she becoming a Mandalorian?
Now, you know, assessing the relative merits of Ahsoka is a tricky one because I'm not really sure what I should be comparing it to. On the one hand, it's way better than plague rat infested bilgewater like Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, or The Mandalorian Season 3, but it's nowhere near the mature and detailed storytelling of Andor. What it really is paint by numbers Disney Plus writing, where everything just kind of happens as and when the plot needs it to, and you're not meant to think.
I have to pause for 1 second. The BTA, the Muriel... the mural behind her is of the Rebels character, the series she was in. That's why when she was like holding it, there was this one guy with something like a white cat or something around him. And we don't know where he is. So this is the thing that We don't know about this because we didn't watch the previous series.
Think too much about all the rules that the writers had to bend and break to get there. J.J. Abrams was a master at this kind of thing because he was able to hide it behind a relentless shitstorm of dumb action sequences, non-stop plot events, and characters yelling things at each other so fast that you never had time to take it in. On the other hand though, Ahsoka is so fucking slow and ponderous that you've got nothing but time to think about all the stuff that doesn't make sense. For example, the first episode is almost an hour long and you feel every second of it. You could pretty easily cut 20 minutes.
I have to admit, guys, I fell asleep for a bit. For a couple of minutes. I would say 5 to 10 minutes during the episode. I don't know, I was on the couch and it was so slow and it, like, the weather was kind of chill. I just fell asleep and I was so lazy to bring it back. I was like, I'll catch up somehow. And I think at that point I missed some scenes with Sabine or something. I don't know.
Minutes of walking, staring, and thinking out of this thing and lose nothing of value. Characters constantly revisit previous scenes and areas, reiterate conversations that already made their point perfectly well, and deliver their clunky dialogue like they're being paid by the second. It's frustrating because it feels like the show is actively trying to hold you up and waste your time. Brevity really is a virtue, Dave. The characters themselves are all bland as fuck and have got nothing even resembling personalities. Like, from what I remember about Rebels and the Clone Wars, characters like Hera, Sabine, and Ahsoka had real sparkle and warmth to them. They expressed emotions freely, they had distinct outlooks and different approaches to things, they felt like real individual people with their own drives and motivations. Now it's like they all got cast from exactly the same mold, and that mold had a single word printed on it. Stoic. It's literally the only trait that I could assign to any of them because they give absolutely nothing for the audience.
Yeah, all of them, that's so true. All of them have the same character, kinda. The same personality of like, I am not a really loud person. I am not aggressive. I'm not animated. Everything is slow. Even my expressions are slow because I'm so wise. And that works for Ahsoka because she's like older, wiser Jedi. But with these younger characters, like, bruh, you have to be more, I don't know, more alive, you know?
Audience to grapple with. And it's not an issue with the actresses, that's for sure. Rosario Dawson and Mary Elizabeth Winstead are both excellent performers, so I can only assume this is what they were specifically
really
asked to deliver. Honestly, what is it with Lucasfilm casting talented actresses and forcing them to play characters without an ounce of personality or charisma? There's a difference between being stoic about suffering and adversity and being a fucking block of wood that doesn't react to anything. Ray Stevenson plays the only significant male character in the show, and don't get me wrong, he's great while he's on screen, it's just that he doesn't seem to happen very often. Now, ultimately, I'd be lying if I said that Ahsoka was the worst Star Wars project I've ever seen, and if you're a big fan of the Clone Wars or Rebels, then you're probably going to get a kick out of seeing your favourite characters in live action. It's just that I don't think there's enough here to recommend it to anyone else. There's definitely a kernel of a good show lurking deep down inside, I just don't know if it's going to be able to fight its way through the lumbering pacing, contrived writing, flat performances, Dave Filoni's ego stroking, and the Lucasfilm studio interference that's already starting to drag down the enjoyment. I'll stick with it for now, I guess, but considering how most Star Wars shows tend to drop off sharply after the first couple of episodes, I don't exactly have high hopes for Ahsoka.
I hope it just gets better. I just hope it gets better.
That's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Go away now. Every time he tells me that, you're so mean.
You too?
I already shared my opinion about everything, how I think about the episodes and the show. To be honest, I will still be watching the show. It's not the worst show ever, but it's not the best show either. It's still a Star Wars show. So if you are looking for a really awesome plot, you probably are watching the wrong show. But if you're watching it for the love of Star Wars, lightsabers, flashy action, awesome planets. Oh my god, English. I need coffee. Then and yeah, like also like not enough alien characters in this show. When I say alien, like from other species, all we saw is a lot of droids and main characters.